Welcome back to another exciting episode of Opera with a Side of Fries. As always, I am one of your hosts, Oren Gratis, joined by my colleagues,
Frank Basile
and Carl Tanner. And I'm excited to announce today that we have two of my great friends, but two very, very famous, actors, singers, TV celebrities, stars, movie stars, producers. What do you, I mean,
How would
what
we
can I
classify?
Yeah.
We're just incredible. I think that's
Yes.
just two incredible geniuses who've conquered the world of media.
Yeah,
I think that's the
Renaissance
title
geniuses,
that's in the dictionary. But
Please welcome Kevin Chamberlain and Michael Gans, guys. How are you guys doing?
hello. We're good. It's early in California. It's early
Yes,
in
I
the
was
morning.
surprised when you said you wanted to do this early because I was ready to do it at 6 your time.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say when you come on with three singers, we're all up. We just all woke up about 15 minutes ago. So
That's right. Didn't even do our hair.
Is everyone in New York?
No.
Oh.
I'm in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Oh, lovely.
Wonderful.
I'm in
I
lovely.
hail from New Jersey. Both of us come from New Jersey, so
Oh, really? Where?
lovely state. Monmouth County and
And Moorestown, down by Cherry Hill.
Yeah. Oh, it's
I'm in Brooklyn. I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
a beautiful place as well.
And I'm in Virginia.
And of course, Arlington, Virginia.
yeah.
I love-
Actually, Carl and I both grew up in Virginia. I was a transplant here, and then I've stayed for the last 25 years.
The caucus is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that Tom Sawyer. We were listening to the Johnny Whitaker interview, and
You have that Tom Sawyer poster right over your shoulder. That's incredible.
Well, when I moved in with my wife, I found that in a drawer along with her 3-sheet from when she replaced Gertrude Lawrence in The King and I.
Oh my God.
So I had her sign them, and then I gave it to her later in a big framed for her. I think the first one was her 85th birthday, and then for her 90th birthday, I gave her the King and I, which is in the living room, and it goes from ceiling to floor.
Oh
and
my
she
God.
she responded, "Why the hell do I want these? I was in the show."
Well, she said, they fit nicer in the drawer.
We have
But
our junk
look-
room behind
I was
us.
gonna say I don't behind Kevin and Michael. I don't see all their posters that they've been in.
Well, they're actually in the hallway. We
Okay.
have 3 Tony nomination certificates in the corridor just past the view because we didn't want to.
That's
Right.
right.
Come on,
That's
you got to
right.
hang up all that stuff behind you.
I know.
You know, I was just gonna go down the huge list of accomplishments and everything you guys done, and I think I'll just tell our listeners to Google you guys. But I mean, as you've said, Kevin has been nominated for 3 Tonys on Broadway. Michael
Name
is
the shows he was nominated for.
What you're gonna make me read now?
We can name them if you'd like.
Please name them.
Dirty Blonde.
Yeah.
You can tell a little bit about Dirty Blonde real quick.
My first nomination was for Dirty Blonde, which is a play about Mae West. It's about 2 contemporary New Yorkers who fall in love over their
Obsession.
obsession with Mae West.
And Kevin Chamberlain actually made a very shapely Mae West at some point during the production. Beautiful gown.
Beautiful, gorgeous.
And that was in 2000, and then 2001 was Seussical, which it was a huge flop on Broadway, but it.
I loved it. I came.
As an icon playing Horton.
I know.
And then-
Celeste and I loved that, actually. We thought you were hilarious.
Ah.
Thank you. And you're one of the few who saw it. And it's now in the top 5 of amateur productions. For the last 20 years, it has been. I can't believe that's been 20 years ago. And then in 2010, Addams Family, I played Uncle Fester in that.
Yes.
Yes, you were fantastic.
Awesome. Great.
So,
And I
guys,
write and produce television on the side just to pay the rent.
just on the side.
I just finished a show that ran for 3 years called Siren, about a mermaid that sort of jumped the shark were a mermaid. I was on, of course, Celebrity Deathmatch, which is, I think, everyone's favorite thing.
Everybody
that I
loved
did.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
When Carl told me that you did that, I was like, "Whoa, we got to have them on."
Thank you. I know that's a great reaction we get. I was just talking with my writing partner about that yesterday, that we had done a production and did the 2nd season of Scream, the television series, and shot in New Orleans. And one day this guy came up to him and said, he was one of the crews, he was a grip, and he came up and said, "Hey, I heard you guys wrote Celebrity Deathmatch. I mean, I'm embarrassed to stand next to you. I don't even know how to talk to you about this. And I was like, Richard was like, Richard is a sweet, demure kind of dude. You remember him, Carl?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's just kind of self-effacing. But I said what he should have said. He said, "Oh my gosh, thanks so much," but he should have said, "Get away from me."
Did he really?
What?
Harsh to him, but he
Any
did.
chance we can have a comeback on that show? Oh, we want that show to come back.
Yeah.
I know Deathmatch does from time to time come back. It's weird. MTV they rarely resurrect it because we did another series for them called Spy Groove, which you can find on the internet, where we did 69 different voices. But I don't know why they don't put it back. People talk about it still. You can't even really get it. You can download it online illegally, sort of. I think.
I'm curious, as a writer, where do you get your inspiration? Like, where did you get your inspiration for the Celebrity Deathmatch?
Well, I didn't actually create Celebrity Deathmatch, but I wrote it with the creator, Eric Vogel. And where it came from was where we write it from. Would literally sit in a room with a table full of magazines. It was the funnest show to write. Because it was really before everybody did everything online. So it was just a table full of People magazines and Rags and National Enquirer, and we just sit there and leaf through and go, oh, this or that. You couldn't do random matches. You couldn't do like you couldn't do like Charlie Chaplin versus Scarlett Johansson.
You had to pick current tiffs.
It had to have a meaning. Yeah, it had to have a current tiff.
Gotcha.
It had to have some sense of parody. So we did, but you could do like slight things like Lil' Kim versus Little Richard, which we did. George Michaels versus Pee Wee Herman because they had both had gay scandals. So you could do that or ridiculous things. Like we did one that was Kerry Russell. It was all the teen stars. It was Kerry Russell. What's her name from Homeland now? Do you remember her name? What is her name? I don't remember her name. It was all teen show stars, TYA stars, and they all fought. And Kerry Russell had just cut her hair, and someone shot a dart from the rafter.
Do you know if Kerry Russell saw it? Because she's actually a mom at my kid's school, so I can go.
She did see it. I meant to send her a copy because I ran into her somewhere, and she said, "Oh, I always wanted to have that, and I don't have a copy."
If I run into her at the school, I'm gonna bring that up to her.
Tell her.
Yeah.
Hey, now. I digress. I want to go back. I told these guys, I don't know if they remember. And Michael, the other day when I was talking to Kevin said nothing's off the table.
No, nothing's off the table.
I want to go back. I want to go back to Michael and I went to school together. You were 17, right?
Yes, 17 when we met. Yeah.
Michael, you're from Virginia too?
I went to school in Shenandoah, Virginia. I'm not from Virginia. My sister lived there.
New Jersey.
Yeah, I was from Jersey.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, Shenandoah.
I have a great fondness for Virginia because of the time I spent there with Carl.
Does your sister still living here? Does your sister still live in Arlington?
She lives in Charlottesville now.
Oh, okay.
I almost went to Shenandoah. It's a good school.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. I just ran into my neighbor across the street. Her daughter just filmed a movie for Hallmark there, even during COVID. Like one of the first projects that they did at Shenandoah's film department on the campus of Shenandoah with Shenandoah.
No kidding.
Wow.
No kidding.
Wow. Well, so Michael and I went to Shenandoah Conservatory of Music. We graduated and we left. And when we left, Michael went, I think you went either home or you went right to New York.
Right to New York.
And I remember it wasn't until 1990, tail end of 90 or early 91, that I moved to New York. And I didn't plan it out. Everybody knows my story about getting off the bus and looking for a place, really getting on the phone. And I had to call Michael's father to find out where Michael lived. Right. Michael was living, I think you were living, I don't know where you were living, but I ended up moving in with you.
Yes, I was living with Daryl Maloney.
Right.
And it was Daryl Maloney and my brother James and you and I and this girl, Erin. And you and Daryl, that was the best cat and dog relationship ever in the world.
Was that the young kid?
What? Yes.
Was that the young boy?
Who now designs lights for Broadway. He's a major lighting designer.
No,
he did the Cher show. No joke. I remember together someday.
You remember? Was he the one that came home with the big giant dog?
Yes, the Akita. Yes.
Yes.
That he didn't care for at all.
Well, it wasn't the dog I didn't care for. Let's put it that way. I felt bad for the dog. The dog was kept in a cage. Daryl,
care for it.
I felt like I was a big brother to Daryl that he didn't listen to.
Okay? Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
So, but then Michael and I moved into the Village. I remember Michael went and said, I found this place. I think we can crash there and kind of make it work. And Michael looked at it with one person in mind. And so I said, And so I ended up moving in with Michael. Long story short, I'm making this real quick. We got there. The first night we were there, I was starving. He was starving. He said, I saw a kebab place around the corner. Yeah. And I said, what the hell's a kebab place? And he goes, they sell shawarma.
Welcome to New York.
They sell shawarma, but he said 3 words I didn't know what the hell they were.
Shawarma, falafel, and
I said, follow what? And he said, just go around and tell him you want a falafel. And I think you said at the time you don't do tomatoes or something. I don't know. So I went around and I walked in and I looked up and I said, I'll have a falala. The guy goes, you want the falafel? And I said, yes, I'll take that. And I said, do you have anything like meat? He goes, well, we have plenty of meat. What do you want? You want a lamb? I said, no, I don't do lamb. I said, do you have beef? And he goes, we don't do beef. I said, then you don't have plenty of meat. I said, do you have pork? He goes, of course not. And I said, you have chicken? He goes, yes. I said, I'll take a chicken shish thing. And he said, okay. So he gives me a chicken shish kebab. Michael gets the falafel. Now, on the way in, I had seen a guy sitting by the door with this huge bandaged, it looked like a ball of bandage on his hand. And I said, oh, I walked in and I talked to anybody. I said, what happened to you? And he said, I cut my finger off at work today. This much of my thumb. Oh. I said, wow, shit, I'm sorry. I thought maybe you worked construction. Is this okay, Michael?
No.
So we leave. I leave, and Michael and I are sitting there, and we're delicious. And he was chomping down, and all of a sudden, Michael goes,
no.
Michael said, what the hell's that? And I looked, and I said, I can't. It was kind of dark in the apartment. I said, I looked, and Michael goes, it looks like a thumb.
Are you kidding me?
Michael, I've told this story. Please verify.
Are you kidding me?
The reason you could tell was it seemed like gristle, and he hadn't told me about the guy with the bandage.
He was a cook, obviously.
Tin paper, and the thumb, you could see the thumbprint. You could see the print, like a fingerprint.
But it still had a little bit of the fingernail too.
Yeah.
So I said, Michael, oh my God, I got excited. I said, Michael, wrap it up and put it in the freezer. And he goes, it's already been deep fried. And I said, okay, well, hold on to it. So I went back around there and I went in and I said, so your thumb? I said, this much, huh? He said, yeah. And I said, where do you work? And he goes, I work here. Yeah. I said, I know I do. I said, I know you do. And he goes, what? I said, I have your fucking thumb.
Oh, God.
And he said, what? I said, I have your thumb. My friend almost choked on it. And he said, I want my thumb. I said, it's too late. It's been deep fried. You can't reattach it. I said, I'm calling the cops on you. And he goes, I don't give a shit what you do. I called, and it was, remember, 976 numbers you had to pay.
Yeah.
I called the health department. They sent out someone, shut them down. The next day they were opened under another name, and they're still there today, I think.
I think they are a little pink shawarma place.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. French doors right on the
Best five fingers in New York.
Wow. You could have been a restaurant owner at this point,
So, Kevin, I think, we went to dinner last year together, right? Was it last year?
Yeah, when I was doing Wicked.
And you think you were doing the Met?
Yeah, I was I think covering at the Met time, singing a couple shows. And Kevin and I went to dinner, but I think the time before that, the last time I saw Kevin, we were at a bar. Stephen and I and Kevin and you guys were dancing. We ran into
down in the village.
Yes, probably. Monster.
That's right, Monster.
I have
so
no memory.
Boys, Kevin, what are you doing now? Michael, what are you guys doing now?
Yeah, but we have pictures though.
We're living, looking for. Michael's developing.
I have four different shows that I'm doing right now. One with Sterling K. Brown, which is cool, which is a horror show within a horror show. Basically, it's like what happens if the people that are making a horror series end up suddenly being killed off during the course of the series. But it's sort of about Time's Up too, so it has a deeper meaning. And then a show with Mila Kunis that's called Gabriel Plum, that she's working on as a producer, and Adam Shank.
You try to convince her to break up with her husband?
I know. Well, she is. I'll tell you something. If you meet her, she's gorgeous, right? Number one, you can't not see how beautiful she is. She doesn't fancy herself up. She wears really regular stuff. She's a mom, and she just looks adorable. And she is the nicest, smartest collaborator. She's fantastic. So yes, I'll try.
Yeah.
How do you juggle four though?
But I'll do it for you.
Yeah. See what we can do.
And then I'm doing another thing with based on a Korean film called Monster Boy, which is basically a modern, very violent retelling of Robin Hood.
And are these projects that you came up with, or somebody called you to collaborate on them?
Well, all three of them were the horror show within a horror show is something that we invented. The Tomorrow Pictures idea is, which is the Korean format that was a movie, Monster Boy. They brought to us. They picked it for us because they knew our work, and so they chose that project to give to us. And the Mila Kunis one we invented together, all of us. She wanted to do something that was like Clue, and it's sort of like Clue or Knives Out, where it's this story of a murder in a small town, and you watch it in any order you want, and every story is a different angle on the murder. So Rashomon with a murder.
So are these already
feature films?
It's a musical, by the way. That's a musical.
Okay.
Oh, okay. These aren't for film or TV.
They are for television. But it's for television.
How's Corona kind of affecting it all? I mean, it's screech and halt, isn't it? I mean, almost.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
There's
insane. The only go ahead.
Good.
No, you go. The only thing that kept going was writing. Writing you could keep doing. So I worked every single day through Corona, but and it was very odd that way. But I would drive from our house, which is in Silver Lake, California, to downtown where my writing partner lives, go into a parking garage and go upstairs, but watch the story of Corona unfold from everybody on the streets to nobody on the streets, like literally looking like Omega Man, to driving home through riots on the streets and all of the excitement that happened with Black Lives Matter because it happened right in downtown. I was driving home and I left because I went, oh, things look kind of crazy outside. Maybe I should start home. I start home. Before I could get out of downtown at Pershing Square, it was like driving into Die Hard. It was it's the SWAT guys and police cars, and they were telling you where to go. And it was crazy to see. And then I got home, and Kevin and I were in bed watching CNN, and I had just left Spring Street, which is where my writing partner lives, which is right down the street from where the original protest was happening. And the looting had begun. You know, it had spilled out into that. And on television, it looked like downtown LA had been picked up, and it was a board game, and it was tipped, and everybody was just spilling out the streets.
Escape from LA.
It was crazy. Yeah, it's like that. And I called and said, Richard, you better be looking out the window because everybody's running down your street, and it's exciting to see. But yeah, it was crazy.
And you were in your car.
I was in my car. I saw every day. I saw that.
Didn't feel safe, did you?
I did. I'll tell you why I felt safe. I wouldn't have felt safe had I got out of it fairly quickly was the thing. And when I hit the event, I wasn't there for the spilling down the streets. That I was home for. But they were already enforced because, you know, Minneapolis, they had already burnt down a city hall. So they knew it was going to get wild. So the cops were all there. So it was kind of like being in New York at 9/11. If you lived where we all lived, where we lived down there, they would tell you what to do. And it was the same thing here. When I got to that area, the cops had just come. So all of the police and the security and the National Guard were telling you which way to go. And so I just said, yes, sir, that way. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Anything you say, I'll pull over here. Okay, I'll wait here. Okay, then I'll go. And you tell me to go, and I'll go. So it was scary just because I'd never seen that many police cars. Yeah. Like 10 in a phalanx driving down a street, like crazy number of cops. But I knew that I was just going to do what I was told. And then I got out of the concentration, so it was sort of safe.
Wow. I have a similar event that just happened, you know, with the curfew that happened in New York City a couple of weeks ago that started at 11 o'clock that caused all the riots. Yes. So they pushed it back to 8 o'clock. Well, on that particular day at around 7, I decided to go into the city and drive through, and I did a live feed from Facebook. And people were jumping on my car at times when I was stopped, saying, you know, you should get out of here. It's not safe. It's not safe. But
that's like because they recognized you.
Yeah, right. But there were cops on every corner, and I felt relatively safe too. And I got out of the city by a little after 8. And 2 days ago, I got a ticket for driving in the city that day. That was
So Kevin.
Yeah, I was going to ask Kevin a question. Go ahead, Carl.
Go ahead. No, you ask him.
Well, I was going to ask Kevin how. I'm sure, just like our business, like opera, I'm sure live theater has ground to a halt. And are you sort of just waiting for things to get back up? I mean, what projects, things that you were about to do and now can't do?
Yeah, I was in the middle of shooting a movie, a musical film of The Prom that was on Broadway, and Ryan Murphy was directing it, and they had to shut down, but they only had like 3 days left, and I think they finished it. It was more second unit stuff, but it's really the only auditions that I have had are for TV series now that all take place by people filming them in their own homes.
Ah, okay.
There have been, there's one where everyone's on Zoom, and it's bizarre how people are. I mean, it's interesting how people are being creative and art is pushing through, even with all of the barriers that we have. But in regards to, and I'm sure you guys feel it in the opera world, it's just going to be a long time before 1,200 people get into a theater again. I know you were talking about that you had done something in Spain, or a guest of yours had done
Madrid.
Yes.
Madrid, yeah.
Yes, one of our guests.
But what we were saying was that the government subsidizes the opera houses, so they're able to put in less people to bring the art form. Here in the States,
but they're
it's
also
all
so far
privately
along
run.
in the development of flattening the curve in Europe.
Right, that's also true.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's I saw a meme the other day. Somebody was standing in the front of the plane taking a selfie, and it's packed behind them, flying from Newark to LA. And they said, WTF, how can we do this and not put people in seats in theaters 6 feet apart?
Yeah.
So I scratched my head. But what I was going to ask you, Kevin, is you mentioned auditioning. Being a veteran in your business and being famous and known, I guess you still do auditions? Or, I mean,
I don't audition for Broadway anymore. Luckily I'm an offer only for that, but I do have to audition for TV and film.
Really?
Yeah.
But they can see your previous work and just say, okay, yeah, we like him or not, or do they bring you in from that?
Yeah, I mean, I get the appointment from my previous work, but LA, there are a lot of young casting directors, and they don't know Broadway world, and
there you go.
And they don't, because they haven't been in the world in the business for a long time. They want to meet you because they're so young and they haven't really.
Well, you put
the
that
thing
very
in
politically correct, and it bothers the shit out of me in opera, because Orrin and I and Frank, we're all veterans. And we've had big careers, and then you have these young kids taking over opera worlds and opera companies that don't know who the hell you are.
Yeah.
And they want you to come in and do an audition, and they sit there with their highbrow looking at you, listening to you sing, thinking you're here to beg me for a job. And I'm telling you, that's why I might go back into bounty hunting.
My wife went my wife went into an audition once with an Oscar in her hand.
Well, Kevin, I need to ask you. I mean, Broadway was my first passion, my first love, actually. I mean, I saw so much when I was a kid. But the one thing I have to say that, I mean, I think being an opera singer was the perfect job well, I know for myself, for Carl, it's a good job if you're an inherently lazy person. So the question is, I've always wondered how can you do 8 shows a week? I find that to be incredible. The stamina. I don't even think I can make it through what? By the end of the week, I'd be done.
Well, the writing in opera is much more taxing, what it asks of you physically. But there are shows that are like Wicked, for example, that has been running now for 17 years, that goes through those 2 roles, the Elphaba and Glinda, are no one can do 8 shows a week.
Were you Glinda?
I was.
You look so beautiful in the dress.
I actually could not defy gravity, though. But it was really shocking how many. Like, I was in the show for a little over 9 months, and I did the show with 4 different Glindas and 5 different Glindas and 4 different Elphabas, and so whether it's maternity leave or they're sick or they can't
Carry
or
the vocal part.
yeah, or Vacations, or it's just a machine. And then they have 16 productions running around the world. So it's fascinating how they.
But tell
it's
me,
just
like,
a revolving
And you
door.
go home and sleep at night. You don't go out and eat till 2 a.m, right?
Not at all.
Is that what opera singers do?
That's
Of
right.
course, that's what we
That's
do.
how
Look
we're
at all
big.
three.
yeah, actually, I did a show with Carl, and he had his slow cooker, and he was making dinner about 3 o'clock in the morning every night.
Ah,
So
Exactly.
Which
problem is
slow
we only
cooker
get-
did I have?
yeah, exactly.
The problem with Broadway folks is we only have one day off a week.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating. So you only really hang out with other Broadway people.
Well, give me a typical day. So you wake up. On a day that you have 2 shows, you wake. I'm just curious what a typical day for a
On
Broadway star
two-show
is
day?
like. Anything, just a whole.
Well,
how
if it's
you.
a 2 and an 8,
Yeah.
you have to get to the theater by 1, and so the night before you got home at 11:30 and probably had, 2 or 2.5 hours. So you sleep like 2 to 10, usually.
but you go out after every.
Yeah.
Everyone goes out after every show to Joe Allen.
Or between matinees, you go to Sardi's for the actors menu and eat lunch.
Yes.
Scrambled eggs.
It
That's
gets
right.
very. I've always tried to live close to the Broadway neighborhood, so I can go home between shows. I think that's more therapeutic.
And how long would a typical contract run when you were doing a Broadway
year.
show? A year. So wow. So that's
9
that's
months or a year.
incredible to me.
Now,
So-
I'm going to ask a personal question, not you personally, but a star, not a movie star, not a TV star that's doing Broadway, but a Broadway star, somebody that's worked their way up. What's a fee? What is a fee roughly? I know it's subjective, but I
Varies.
mean, what is a fee for a Broadway star?
Your
roughly?
salary, it can run anywhere from 15 to 40 a week. So, and then the chorus people, the minimums I think are in the $3,000.
Oh, it is.
It's like, or 2,500, yeah. And then if you have like a supporting role and no credits, it goes up to like 35 or 4,000.
And unless you're working for Andrew Lloyd Webber. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
seriously, I think the Star Phantom only started out 7 a week.
Wow.
And then made it after 3 years to 10.
Wow.
Yeah, unless you're Michael Crawford.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the original.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a lot of these actors now will get a point in the show. They'll take a lower salary and get a point.
Have
Yeah.
you been in shows when you were doing Seussical, when you were rehearsing it? Were you saying to yourself, this might not be as successful as I want it to be?
No,
No, you
no.
thought it was going to be. So you didn't know.
You create a bubble around yourself.
Because there are times when we do operas and we're like, wow, this is not going to be well received.
That's most
No,
of my
I've
career.
certainly
I
been in that position, yeah. But it's not. It's with a new musical, you're in such a bubble. And I remember the first performance in Boston. There's an old phrase called "lost in Boston," where if you open up a show out of town. And our first performance, I came out and talked to the press guy, and I was like, "Well, that went really well, didn't it?" And he goes, "Kevin, we're in trouble."
Oh.
And
Kevin,
literally,
we're in
I
trouble?
saw everything sort of tumbling.
And
So,
listen,
and
Kevin, in
They
Boston,
fired
they
the
said,
direct. What?
I was going to say in Boston, they said Oklahoma would never make it.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Well, they fired the set designer, the costume designer, and the director the next night.
And the
Yikes.
crazy thing is that Seussical, even with that auspicious beginning and mentioning Oklahoma, they do it more than Oklahoma around the country now.
That's
It is performed
amazing.
more than Oklahoma.
Good for you guys. That's great.
Do you think that's because it's more of a family show?
I think so. It's very entertaining too. It's a beautiful score, and it's
I love
actually a really cool show. It was when they opened on Broadway. They opened the same year as The Producers, which was The Chosen
Yeah.
Child. Like that was the
Yeah.
show that was going to be a hit, and everybody had already decided that. So
Yeah, that was the Hamilton of the day.
exactly. The first
That-
raised ticket price.
You know,
Kevin,
I
I
have a
know.
friend of mine. I want to ask you if you know a friend of mine, Kevin. Do you know Ewan Morton?
Yeah. Oh, I know you were saying his son is your nephew, right?
Yeah, it was Ian Armitage.
Yeah.
But I want to. Do you know his dad? Do you know Ewan?
I do. I have met him. Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering. Just
Amazing.
it's a
So-
small world.
So his wife is your sister, or how?
Well, we grew up together. So
Yeah.
no, that's so. I mean,
Not a
and
blood relative.
so that little boy is like mine. I mean, he's like our family. So yeah, he's a great kid, and now they're pushing him
It's
to
like a
go back
tenor
to
mafia
film.
family. It's everybody's family to Carl.
Yes. Yeah. We have a good friend in common, and I'm sure you other guys know him, Richard Troxel.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Richard and I go way back to we're singing waiters down at the Jersey Shore.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So you recently, how long ago was Little Shop of Horrors? Because that's one of my favorite. I know that you did that.
19
I
years
saw that you did that. Was that how long ago
It
was that?
last October.
Last
Oh,
I was going to say you did
October.
it
Oh, sorry.
recently.
Yeah. It was a very, very new, more realistic. They cut out a lot of the cartoony underscoring, and we did it really kind of gritty, dirty.
Cast against type mostly in the show, or not cast against type, but recast the characters with very different ways. He had originally had all this Yiddish speech when it was Fives Finkel, and it was reinvented less Yiddish for
We cut
because
out most
Fives
of it.
Finkel just made up schmangle, like he would just say some Yiddish and some just garbage Yiddish for fun, and they changed it. And also, the character of Audrey was played by
MJ Rodriguez, who is a
one of the stars of Pose. She's a
Yeah.
transgender girl.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I just love that, and I saw that you did that, so I wish I had seen
there,
it.
there are
That was
pictures
like-
online that are really cool that show the
What theater was that in?
at the Pasadena Playhouse.
Okay.
Also, I'm developing a new musical there with Megan Mullally and Nick Offerman.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Called Ice Boy, and it's a really fun. We were literally doing a workshop the day before everything shut down, and
Yeah. It was
So
great.
you'll be in it as well, or are you directing, writing it,
directing it.
writing it?
The Orange
Anyway.
County Arts Center guys, the Orange, I think
yeah.
it's okay. Well, I was doing Aida there 10 years ago, something like that, 12 years ago. And my dressing room, they had set up, it was a legitimate dressing room, but for some reason they had an entrance and an exit. And the exit went directly into the tiny little theater. There were other ways to get to the theater, but it was like an egress into that theater. And Megan Mullally was there doing a one-woman show and realized, I guess she was using that room to cut through before I took it as a dressing room. So one day I'm in my underwear, just my underwear, and she comes walking through and stops and looks at me and goes, huh, and just walks out. So I was like, who the hell was that? And Steven goes, oh my God, that was Karen from Will and Grace. I said, that was Karen? He goes, yeah, not the voice, just, Megan Mullally, that was her. And I said, well, why the fuck she's walking through our dressing room? So I had a break and I went walking into her show and she was doing warm up. And I looked at her and she turned and went, and I went, huh. And then I walked back in. The next intermission, I look over, I come off stage, she's sitting right there and she goes, touche. She was cool. She was cool. But I was just wondering if you guys ever worked there. And then, yeah, she's a really cool woman. She seems to be fun work.
She's very cool, very surprisingly cool, and has a great sense of humor for someone that famous.
Now, is that what you're working on now? You're preparing that?
Yeah, we're developing it. It's been around for a while, and then we're sort of every time you workshop it, you learn something new about it. So we're in the rewrite phase. But Pasadena wants to do it, but they don't know when they're going to open again. So
they have a long time to ready it for the audience that will eventually sit in the seats.
Yeah, probably not until at least spring of 2021.
With the writers are the guy who wrote Urinetown is writing the score.
Oh, great show.
It's Jay Reese who wrote Spelling Bee.
Putnam County
Spelling
Oh,
Bee.
yeah.
And another writer who I did shows with. You may have met her millions ago, Erin Quinn Purcell, who we've known forever. She comes to every opening night of ours and is a writer too. Great writer.
And John Michael Higgins is in it. He's in all the
Christopher Guest movies.
Christopher Guest movies.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a great
I love
cast.
all the Christopher
Incredible
Guest
show.
movies.
Really good.
Yeah, it's real fun.
So,
But that's there's no real outlet to I mean
Show
I've-
to
I
perform
think-
in it.
I'm sure you all have been up with doing these online benefits and Zoom concerts and singing and I think there's a bit of an exhaustion now with that.
yeah, I think performers we want to get back into the halls. We want to get back in front of people. and so it's getting a little tedious or monotonous. But I was going to ask you, do you guys know? I know Kevin, you've probably worked with her. Michael, you've worked with her, I think. I'm not sure. Kate Flannery.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, Kate
Yeah.
went to school with us at Shenandoah.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh my
She
god.
She was
did.
there at the same time?
She was
I
there
knew
at the
she
same
looked
time.
familiar. I can't believe that I saw her in Pajama Game, and I went up to her afterwards and did not know that she had gone there. But
Well-
Kevin's worked with her. Haven't you worked with her?
Yeah, well, she was on Jessie, the Disney Channel show. I did.
Okay. Yeah.
She
now
went to
tell us about-
Shenandoah.
Yeah, she went to Shenandoah. Now tell me, but she left there and went to Pennsylvania, Penn State or something like that for graduate studies or something like that. But yeah, she was there, and I remember her from there. And then I just forgot about a lot of people from Shenandoah. I mean, maybe I have a earlier onset of Alzheimer's, but one day I get an email saying, "Congratulations on your success. I think your a Christmas album or something like that is fantastic." And I'm like, "Holy shit, this is Meredith from The Office." She goes, "Carl, we went to school together." And so I was in Denver performing, and she emailed me and said, "You're in Denver. We're in Denver." And she performs a lot with Jane Lynch.
Yeah.
And Lynch
she does
Mob.
hilarious stuff with Jane Lynch. Yeah.
So I went to meet Jane Lynch, and Jane goes, "Would you sit out in the hall and tell me what the sound is like?" So I'm sitting in the hall, and Jane goes, they do the shtick, and all of a sudden they stop, and she goes, "Carl, how's the balance?" I said, "Good." And she goes, "Carl, I have a question. Is it clitoris or clitorius?" And I said, "Jane, I don't know, but I know that when there's more than one, it's clitori." And they used that in her show, and I didn't get a writer's credit.
There's royalties to be got.
Yeah.
But Kevin, I want to ask you.
I would have said clits.
Now you made me forget what I was going to ask.
Or the Giants, the clitoris.
Jane Lynch and Kate Flannery do this hysterical version of "Far from the Home I Love" from Fiddler on the Roof. They do it kind of like lounge lizardy. It's like, "Once I was happily content to be as I was where I was."
They do this hilarious song called it's talking about a train going down a track, and it takes the wrong turn and goes in the wrong hole. They say the wrong hole into the wrong tunnel. The wrong hole. And every time Jane sings "Wrong Hole," Kate goes something like that. Or like this.
You put it on the audience.
Fantastic.
Do we want to ask some stories from the road while we're
Yeah,
big
we have a
segment?
segment in this show. Thanks for reminding me. We have a segment on the show called Stories from the Road.
Sometimes I have to keep Carl on point.
Yes,
This will turn into a 9-hour podcast.
We just asked our guests to tell a funny story, maybe something that they have never spoken about before, but whatever you want to tell us, something funny that happened to you on the road during traveling or during filming or something that our audience would love to hear.
Some of them gotten pretty out there, so go for it.
I remember going to Albuquerque to shoot a movie called Suspect Zero, and the first moment that I get on to the set, a PA comes over and goes, "Sir Ben would like to see you in his trailer." And I went, "Who's Sir Ben?" "No, Sir Ben. Sir Ben."
Oh,
Heavy hitter.
And
Ben.
I'm like, "You have to call him Sir?" And he goes, "Yeah, you do." I said, "Maybe in England. I don't think I can call him Sir. I don't believe in that." So I go over and I go, "Hey, Ben." And he goes, come in. All right. "Do you want to rehearse the scene we're about to do?" And I said, "Sure. Okay, you're going to show me pictures of I'm going to be showing you pictures of your murder victims. And I remote view draw these pictures of your victims, and then I you have to be shocked." And then I slide it over and I go, I know, I auditioned with the scene." So he's just giving me all of the, basically directing me. And then, so we're doing the scene, and then he slides this picture over and goes, "Here, this one's my favorite." And I literally went,
yes, sir.
"Okay."
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's how you're gonna do it.
Do that
Right.
again. Do that one more
And
time.
we're called to the set, and then it's action, and he slides the paper over, and he goes, "Here, this one's my favorite." and you could feel everyone in the whole on the set just go, "Ah, okay." And so every time the director would come over and go, "Okay, let's try something different. Let's just try." He would nod to the director and then look at me and go, like, anything different.
Do it the exact same way.
What?
And then he would do it the exact same way.
Exact same thing.
This was my favorite.
So if you go watch the Suspect Zero, that scene.
Oh,
I will go watch that.
I
Suspect
definitely me too.
Just
Oh,
for
that's
that.
But in Adam's Family, everyone, the director got fired. When you're being thrown new lyrics at 5 o'clock before an 8 o'clock performance, and
He passed a stone on the ladder playing Horton on Broadway, like being pushed around by two guys on a ladder for the whole second act. He's on a ladder. It's a tree where he's hatching the egg, and you passed a stone while you're up there.
I ran off stage.
You passed the stone?
Yeah,
How did you do that? That's painful.
the show must go on.
Oh, brother.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Damn.
that's
It was
that's impressive.
New meanings to your loss.
I have no great stories. Nothing good has ever happened to me, nor anything funny, I don't think. But
You get up in Vancouver and you see stars in the.
I do. I have we stay in Vancouver, and it's like staying in a dream, because everyone there, and there's all movie stars, things like that. But I did a show called Laughlin, which shot all over LA area, and it was with Melanie Griffith and Hugh Jackman, and you were working with them daily. And Melanie Griffith was her own person. She did everything by her own rules, and she would show up and she would smoke everywhere. A rented house that was not ours, with paper on everything that you were not allowed to let too much crew in. She would just smoke cigarettes. And one day she showed up and she didn't like the scene. We didn't know this, but she didn't like the scene, and she was just throwing cigarettes in the middle of the scene and throwing in the word fuck, and it was for CBS television, so you couldn't throw in the word fuck. And it's Melanie Griffith, and she was a huge star at that time. So she's doing the scene, and the other actor just keeps trying to do it with her, and she'll throw it. The light is going, and it's this glass house in Santa Clarita. The whole house is glass. And so I go into this room with her that's off the set, that was given to her, where she's been smoking. And Dakota Fanning was actually there too, and she would hand the cigarette to Dakota, and then Dakota would smoke the cigarette while she did the scene, and then she'd take the cigarette back. And she was a kid at that point. But anyway, she's in there, and I said, what's wrong? What can I do to make this better? Because it's turning into night outside, and the house is glass, so we can't cut it together. So what can I do to make it better? She said, the guy who wrote it doesn't know how to write women. The guy who wrote the scene doesn't know how to write women. I hadn't written that scene, but I was overseeing the set. So then I go, I agree with you. He doesn't know how to write women at all. So let's see how it can be better. And then she proceeds to tell me a story about inappropriate behavior by Hitchcock, where she was sat upon his lap when she was on set with her mother, Tippi Hedren.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
And
God.
she's gorgeous too. Like, this woman is gorgeous. And the entire time, there's no button to this story. The entire time, all I could think was she had these huge diamonds that had been given to her by Antonio Banderas. They were like headlights here on a necklace. And the whole time, I could barely even pay attention to what she was saying, because all I could think was, don't look at the diamonds. Don't look at the work. Don't
You
look
were
at the
thinking,
diamonds.
how do I get those diamonds and give them to Carl Tanner?
Changed up. But that's a story.
Oh, that's great.
Dakota Fanning?
Yes. Not Dakota Fanning. It's the other one. It's the girl from 50 Shades of Grey, who's a huge star now.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
God.
We're all gone. I don't even remember. But
We're all having a senior moment.
Yeah. I never saw 50 Shades of Grey. Should I?
You wouldn't like it.
I think you see 50
Yeah, it's too
Shades of-
straight.
It's very straight.
It is straight.
Dakota Johnson.
Dakota
Johnson.
Johnson.
You,
Thank
hey,
you.
you had
Don-
a name correct. You had half the name correct.
Yeah.
Tell me, Kevin, so what do you have next?
Nothing.
That's not true.
Nobody has anything next right now, Carl.
Yeah. No, I mean, does anyone have anything next?
No.
No, you are not
Nothing.
alone, brother. Kevin, you are not
Nothing.
alone. No, nothing. All these writing, you're the only one working if you're writing. And that's just for the
He has
hope of
to
things to
fix-
come.
It's true. I'm trying to write things for people to do, and hopefully one of the things I've got an idea for will be something you could shoot in this time. But the only thing you can do is write. I mean,
more movies that take place on Zoom and Skype.
Yeah, well, that's what we're working on.
I wish it was a good format, man. I wish it could.
Well, they did that horror movie that actually was semi-successful. The one where,
and also, a friend of mine, Joanna Johnson, did something called Love in the Age of Corona, which was shot in the Corona time, and it's for Hulu.
Okay.
Or Freeform, I think, actually.
Freeform and Hulu.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
I have this movie of The Prom coming up, and I'm starring opposite Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman in it.
Keegan-Michael Key.
Meryl Streep.
That's what you announced before.
Yes.
And you're in there with Michael Keaton, huh?
Stop calling me.
Keegan-Michael.
Did you say
Key from Key and Peele.
Michael Key and Andrew Rannells and
Michael Key.
Tracy Ullman.
Okay. So very cool. And when does that start filming?
We already filmed it, so it's Netflix between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Because you put on Facebook, I have a big announcement to make, but I can't announce it right now. So, yeah.
That was the announcement. We officially got the big announcement now.
So is this a big announcement?
No. Everyone knows it's going to be.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit.
What was the big announcement on Facebook?
Well, announce something with us. Give us something big. Come on now. Go.
I think that was it.
He's pregnant. He just doesn't want to say it online.
Oh, congratulations. You heard it here first, people.
Exactly.
I was going to ask something, but now you guys, shit. It was important too. I'll remember. I should write these things down, but at my age, I forget to write things down, and I know.
I forget to think things.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. Last time I talked to you guys, I hope you said nothing's off the table. Uh-oh. So, are you guys thinking about moving back to New York?
We had a place there that we got rid of, actually, just this year. I wanted to move back there.
I thought you guys were coming back.
Well,
you don't want to?
It's hard. It's hard for me. I always want to move there more than he does. I want to move back there always. And but my business is all here, so it's with studios. I want to write a Broadway show so that I can move the business there. But
yeah.
It's we got out January 30th, and we were kind of glad that we got out at that time because we lived like on the 22nd floor of a high rise, and I heard it was about a half an hour wait just to get into the elevators.
Yeah, it was a tough ride.
And I know you have a beautiful home in LA. I think you guys, Michael, I saw pictures. One of you posted. I think maybe Kevin posted them on Facebook or somebody. I don't know. I saw you have pictures of your house. I thought, wow, it's gorgeous.
It is beautiful. Kate Flannery was actually here. Speaking of Kate Flannery, one time.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes, it's a very nice house. We're putting in a new bathroom. That's the big announcement. We're putting in a new bathroom. Isn't that exciting, America?
Show us.
Yeah.
Show us.
It'll turn into a home improvement show now.
This is the house. You can see the house here. I'll show you this.
Where did Frank go?
Look, there's the garden.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. Look at that.
And there's a cup that I knocked on the ground.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So where did Frank go? Is Frank still with us?
I have no idea. He's disappeared.
We lose Frank?
Yes. And he has not come back. So we don't know what happened to Frank.
No, he says he's still there.
Oh.
There you are. Where did you go?
My computer died.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
That a way to be prepared. Huh?
Welcome back.
Hey, you asked me the other day, Frank, Asus. I love Asus. Asus computers. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Michael,
having trouble these days. So.
How's your family?
My family is good. It's been a wild ride. My mom was an opera singer.
Really?
Yes. She was a very big opera singer, very successful opera singer. She was also a nightclub singer, and she worked with Abbott and Costello. But I was going to tell you a story about her. My dad just passed away, so let's get on the cheery side.
And I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
And but you knew my mom and dad.
Sweet man. They're great people. Great people.
And he learned to be a tenor because she wouldn't live with him if he didn't learn how. So he went to her teacher in San Francisco and learned to be a tenor. But I have a kind of funny story I'll try to tell real quickly, that opera story about Maria Collis. My mom was the understudy at San Francisco for productions that would star Maria Collis. even though Collis was a different singer, she was a coloratura lyrico sphincto, my mother, and Collis was basically a dramatic soprano, but she would understudy her because she was the great star of San Francisco opera, my mom. And so she was supposed to be coming in to do Lucia di Lammermoor, Collis, and my mother had sat through rehearsals, and this director had staged that final aria with Lucia entering at the top of the staircase. That was a huge staircase, the full house of San Francisco Opera House, and coming down the stairs and finishing the opera at the bottom of the stairs, but stopping in the platform in the middle on the landing for the highest part of it, and then stumbling down and finishing at the bottom of the stairs. And my mother had rehearsed this, and then it got to be the 11th hour, and that's what happened with Collis at this stage of her career. Sometimes she showed up, sometimes she didn't. So she doesn't think she's going to show up. She doesn't think. My mother is sitting outside Herbert Adler's office in San Francisco Opera Company waiting for word, will she go on? And they say, they're waiting for Collis. I think we should just cancel because if she doesn't come, they're going to get mad. And nobody knows this opera singer yet, so don't let her do it. And so she's hearing this, and then boom, Collis shows up. So she could have gone on, but Collis is going on. They said it might make Mary Louise a star, but no, Collis is here. So Collis shows up. She goes to the stage to run through the show. The director talks her through, and my mom walks the stairs of this is where you'll do the top of the aria. You land here for the high point, then go to the base of the stairs to the end. And Collis said, I will enter stage left, I will stop in the middle, I will sing, and I will exit stage right. She's like, that staircaseography. She just said, I'm coming, I'm going to sing the aria, and I'm going to exit.
I've done stuff. I've seen sopranos who are not quite on that level try to pull that kind of crap as well. So maybe Maria Collis could get away with it, but some of the sopranos I've worked with, I have no idea how they got away with it.
Yeah, that's
the whole show is built around this staircase. Hilarious.
Hey,
How did you two meet? Did I ask that question? How'd you two meet?
Yeah, we met in the theater arts section of a bookstore.
Barnes and Noble.
Oh,
Up on Broadway and 80 or 68th Street, something like that?
No,
It was actually B.
8th
Dalton.
and 6th.
What's that?
It was B. Dalton.
B. Dalton, 8th and 6th.
Oh,
and how long have you two been together now?
Year.
How long?
Yeah.
30 years.
30 years.
30 years. Congratulations.
you guys, Stephen and I are 29. And 29 in September. We're not 29 years old. We're 29 years together in September. So you guys, you're 1 year more than me. That's amazing.
Goes fast, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not a competition, though, Carl.
No.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, Carl.
I've known you for longer. Like we've known each other for forever.
Well,
You
you said you were 17 and you're 28 now, right?
28, just 28.
28.
Yeah.
Or
See,
about 29.
See, in the arts, don't you think, gentlemen? I mean, everyone says, "Oh, opposites attract." But I think in the arts, when you're with somebody who you get it, that you're in the same business, you understand the discipline, the dedication it takes, sacrifice, that it really makes for a happier relationship.
Have you ever dated a soprano before?
My wife was married to a soprano. I was married to a soprano, absolutely.
Well, especially when you're on the road a lot, and that's very difficult.
Yeah, no, and I think if you, my feeling is if you can enjoy the other person's success as much as your own, I think that's the most important thing. If you're there for them, and you really, when it's their night and it's their moment, that you can really enjoy that and let it be. Unfortunately,
You meant money,
the
right?
best
Enjoy the other person's
opening
money.
Yes, Michael makes sure the opening nights are always wonderful. In fact,
I have a blast at them.
he will chide people sitting around him who are talking. There was one performance of Seussical where the woman behind him was telling her kids, we should have gone to Lion King, and he turned around and he hit her.
Well, I said first, I told her to shush twice, and she wouldn't shush, and her kids seemed to be enjoying the show, and I turned around and went shh, and then I did it again, and then I just turned around like she was a little kitten, smacked her on the knuckles, and the minute I did it, I was like, holy shit, what did you just fucking do? I was like, oh my God, you're gonna get kicked out of here. And he's the star of the show, and it's his birthday, so they know who I am in the house. It's not like I don't know who I am. It was the worst. I ran outside at intermission, and I smoked. Remember, I used to smoke like a chimney. Carl,
Yes,
remember that?
Quit, right?
I
You
know.
quit?
I quit heartily. I went to Hawaii. That's how I say quit. Go to the Four Seasons in Hawaii.
That's right.
But
No smoke
that is But this woman, I ran out and I was smoking outside the theater, and my friend who was there with me comes, he like goes, he's off this way. There's all glass doors in the front of that theater, and he comes back and is like, so I come back inside. The house manager has this woman and her family standing behind her. And I go back and I face her and I go, I am wrong. I was wrong. I slapped you. That's wrong. I worked for Disney on Beauty and the Beast. I can get you tickets to the Lion King. I can do this with you. I'm so sorry. Behind her, though, her whole family, her husband and her 2 kids are like,
yeah. They wanted to hit her. They wanted to hit her.
But I won her over. I won her over at the end.
Yeah, they wanted you to hit her again.
That's right.
Like one big hefty hit. Take her out. No, but it was I mollified it, but it was that was I slapped someone in the theater because I loved my husband so.
We all want to do that.
You
sometimes.
should have smacked the shit out of her.
Sorry.
And those seats are too small. We're practically sitting in each other's laps. So
Right.
Oh, they are. Well, also Michael's been known to, after I did a musical called Triumph of Love, and after it was a big sort of vaudeville number, and it was the last performance. The show was closing, and he stood up, and then he turned around and with the applause, he stood up, started applauding. Then he turned around and he went, "Stand the fuck up!"
It's what I did. What's absolutely crazy was him and Roger Bart, who were old friends, and they had gone to college together, like us, Carl. And they did this amazing number, and it was last show. So Betty Buckley was in the show, and F. Marie Abraham.
I love Betty.
Betty was getting these giant applause every time, and this number was getting longer applause than anything else because it was just this hilarious number. So I stood up, and then I thought they want to stand up. So then I did. I turned around and I said to the entire Broadway house, 5th row center, I said, "Stand the fuck up!" It was really.
You know what? You got to come to more of our shows.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Can we get you guys to come to our shows? Yeah,
hey guys,
needs to get the fuck up.
We're getting close to time here. This has been funny shit, and usually we don't go 57 minutes. We usually, chop the people off at about 50.
That's great.
Do you guys have anything to push or anything?
Well, you should watch Siren.
I've got a vaccine.
I'm gonna go watch Siren.
Yeah.
You have a vaccine.
I'm pushing my vaccine.
I'd much rather take that than the Russian one right now.
Is it Lysol and chloroquine mixed?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. In fact,
turkey baster up the anus.
It's 90% vodka.
vodka.
I was just actually hanging out with a Russian with a Russian dad who is convinced that's all in terms of decontamination, just drink vodka. And he was dead serious about that.
Really?
He actually gave it to his 13-year-old son. He would make him have every day a shot of vodka just to clean out the system. Yeah.
Well, we've been drinking vodka and we don't have it yet, so maybe it works.
Maybe it's there.
That's what I'm saying.
Look, I love you guys. I haven't seen you guys in so long. I mean, I've seen Kevin more than I've seen Michael. I thought Michael didn't want to talk to me anymore, but he's always so busy,
I love you, Carl Tanner. Hey, Carl, I talked to you when it mattered. When you were a kid and you were a singing waiter and we were living together and you were designing jewelry and you were a bounty hunter and you were doing everything in the world. And I said, just for a minute, because you still do those things, but I said, just for a minute, Carl Tanner, pay attention to that competition that you have and sing the fuck out of it, because you are a physical voice that could not happen twice in the world. There's only one of you, and this is a gift. And do you remember I said that?
I do remember you saying that, and I appreciate it. I love you for that, really. I miss seeing you. I'm going to have to fly out. I know I'm going to have to fly out to LA to hang out with you.
Hell yeah.
Well, I
just met them, and I'm flying out to LA to hang out with them.
Me too.
Yeah. Look, these guys and I are going to fly out and watch the filming of Young Sheldon. And and I mean, not right now, probably in the spring. In the spring, and when they do that, we all got to get together so they can meet you guys in person. Okay.
All right.
Carl, you want to give our email address?
Yeah. We don't have any. You know what? Do we have any? I didn't check to see if we have any emails to read today.
Our next show.
Yeah, but for our next show, it's operawithfries@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us today. You guys have anything else to say, Kevin? I only have half of you here, Kevin, so I want to make sure that half gets a chance to say. Oh, there you are. There you are. You guys want to say anything else? I want you guys back on. Will you come back on?
Yes,
Yes.
and congratulations on the show. We've enjoyed listening to it.
Yes, it was
Oh,
really fun to
good.
listen to.
Thank you. I'm going after, I'm going to chase him down, but I'm going after, I'm going to try to get Michael on here, Michael Keaton. Michael
sweet,
Ian,
yes.
Michael Ian Black did a podcast called How to Be Amazing. A big successful podcast for several years, and I was one of his guests. So we're going to get Michael
Now
on
he
here,
owes you.
hopefully.
That's
But
what I
You know,
said
there's
to
a
you. He
guy
owes
who
you.
won a bunch of Jeopardies, and his name is Chuck Forrest. And I think you should have him on because your brother's
Sounds
Chuck.
interesting.
Chuck, I should. You know, my brother Forrest passed away a couple of years ago.
I didn't. I'm so
Way
sorry.
to bring down the show. No,
I know, right? Well, I love it.
no, but no, he lived a good life. So a tough life, but he was good. But everything's good. But and then we're going to try to get Scott Hamilton. He's a buddy of mine. We're going to get some other names on. But we're going to use your names to get them on. That's my point.
All right.
Yes.
Hey guys, love you both. Thank you for coming on. Gentlemen,
you
anything
guys.
else? Frank, you've been really quiet.
Well, I've been listening. I love these guys. They're funny. They're interesting. I love the dynamics between your old friendship. Michael, I've known Carl too since we were 17. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, we met in Richmond singing.
In a bathhouse.
Crazy.
Well, we were like the two. He was singing bass back then, so he was a
I remember.
competitor of mine. Yeah. So we've stayed in touch over the years, and I've just loved to see somebody who's known Carl and all of his background and antics as long as I have. It truly.
The stories I could tell.
I bet, and I'd love to. pick
Thank
your
you for
brains
coming,
on all of
ladies
this.
and gentlemen. That's our show. Hey, Michael, I want to be a dead body in the background of one of you.
You're welcome to be one. I
I'm
think you
serious.
I
Look,
think you should play brothers in something.
It'd be
Oh,
great.
that would be great.
Beautiful. You got it.
Can I
Beautiful.
Can I
audition.
ask one more question? Should we reach out to you or to your agents if we ever want to hire you for a show, for a pay gig?
Directly to us.
What'd
He
you
has
say,
a-
Kevin?
What'd you
It's a
say,
cut-
Kevin?
But he has a high C.
What'd
Do
you
you have
say,
a high
Kevin?
C, Kevin?
Yes. Give me a C.
Oh gosh, he's a tenor.
Yeah, he's a tenor too. Yeah, and
But-
Michael sings really well.
Like, what is it?
I just
He
woke
does a
up.
very funny one. He does
Come
it
on,
for
you can
people.
do it. Here,
It's
wait a minute.
Burt
I'm going to give you a C. Hold on.
You do it.
It's a Burt Larcy.
Hold on. I'll give you a C. Hold on. I got a
Mike,
piano
did you
right here.
study opera at Shenandoah?
I did briefly with Donna Goldstram, and who was a great teacher. But my mom taught me to sing opera all my life. So
Oh, that's wonderful. And
Here you are.
know,
Here's a high
by the
C.
way, Shenandoah meets at 54 Below every year. They're alumni now.
oh wow, I should go to that.
You should come.
I would love that.
Can you hear that?
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
How about we start? There you go.
Great.
I was going to say we start with a B and move up to a C.
Yeah.
You're sitting down too.
If you listen to The Moon and Me on Adam's Family soundtrack,
There you go.
hit that high C 8 times a week.
Oh, I don't know how the hell you did
Carl,
that.
have you had a high C 8 times in your life?
I haven't. Actually, I can
I love you.
literally count the times I've hit a high C in performance.
Really?
It's been about 7 times, 8 times.
Wow.
Because I mean,
And Kevin's been doing it 8
wait a
times a
minute.
week.
That's a lie. I've done
Because you
turned
don't
out.
sing the daughter of the
I've done
regiment.
turned out 111 times, so I have to hit a high C twice in those shows.
Okay.
But literally, I've kept a tab of how many high C's I've hit.
Did you make it?
A lot of times, no. But they didn't come to hear one goddamn note, okay?
Exactly right.
Hey, I love you guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you,
Love you
guys.
guys. Thanks so much for having us.
So we're opera with a side of fries, opera with fries at gmail.com. Send us your comments and anything for the boys here, and we'll pass them on. We'll pass the questions or comments on to our guests. And if they give a shit, they'll write you back. And if they don't care, you won't hear anything back. Okay. Hey, thank you for coming, guys. Hold on for a second. I'll say goodbye to you after I hang up on here.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Hey, you guys want to say anything?
Been a great time. Thank you both.
See you guys.